start coming up, I'm going to explain a little about the YANA project and who I am. For all that don't know, my name is Ariona Lynn. I do a lot of things. But on Easter, I actually was at my mom's house and we were having a family dinner. At the family dinner, I couldn't get myself together. I don't know why, but I went to my mom's house. I just was emotional. I kept crying. I just kept taking myself back in her bedroom and just sitting there by myself and crying. Didn't know why. So mom came back there and sat next to me, and she knows what I go through. So she just sat next to me. She didn't ask me what's wrong, why are you crying. She just said, Ariona, you're not alone. She said, you are not alone. I know she probably doesn't even remember saying those words, but that's where it started. That's where it started, and that's where it sparked my idea to start this, because when you're going through depression and anxiety, you don't realize that there are other people going through it. Now, even though we all have different stories, different journeys, we all have things, we're all similar. We're all going through the same thing. And it's good to know that you can talk to somebody about it. It's good to know that you can get help for it. It's good to know that you are not alone.
Yes.
So that's where it started. So I'm gonna come up here and let my panelists introduce themselves. I have some really, really wonderful women up here today. So.
Hi everyone, I'm Ariona Sherwood. I go by Ariona Lynn, Lynn being my middle name. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I came here because this event means so much to me, because I too have been going through depression and have had my own triumphs and tribulations that I've gone through. Wow. I know you all have had your journeys too, so yeah, definitely. I have two beautiful little boys that just keep me moving.
Good afternoon, ladies. My name is Kelly. I am the host of the K. Renee Show. It's a podcast show on Spotify and Spreaker. And I too suffer from depression as well. I have a little boy who I have to keep up with, lots of energy. For me, like everyone else's story, it is similar, but it is different. And hopefully you'll definitely be able to hear about that a little later. But I'm glad to be here because I feel like the main thing is that we don't speak up. We don't talk about it. And when we don't speak up and we don't talk about it, we try to basically cope within our own, find our own methods, and sometimes that just really doesn't work. So we need to go an extra step, an extra mile, and try to hit this thing head on and fix it before it gets worse. So I'm glad to be here, and hopefully my story can inspire you all as well, or somebody out there to get the help that you need, and just to know you are not alone.
Hello, my name is Angel King. I'm a mom of two. I have a preteen. Anybody that's preteen know how that is. And I have a little boy. I've been married for 10 years, and I'm an operator of 4 Domino's stores in the Maryland, D.C., and Virginia area. Depression to me has been an ongoing, scenario for me. I came from this neighborhood, the typical, family drug abuse and, losing parents. And it's an ongoing struggle. So people who think that depression goes away, it does not go away, and hopefully today, we'll all be able to hear some stories and be able to learn different ways to cope. Just recently I lost my dad 2 months ago, so it's growth for me, and I just want to make sure that we all understand that it's just not something you can perpetuate on, so I'm looking forward to listening to you ladies and getting to know everyone here, and that's me.
Hey everyone, I am Lolita Walker. I am a certified life and executive coach. I also am a change champion for women. So I'm Walker & Walker Enterprises. I'm going to be right in the back. And what I really do is I empower women to embrace, act, and then thrive. And I do that through a number of ways. I think the reason that this is so important to be here at this discussion and open dialogue with you guys is because depression looks like so many different things. It can start with fear, anxiety, stress, and we don't name it. Depression has come upon the likes of, oh, that's a bad word. And so I think demystifying what that looks like and feels like for everyone is really, really important. So I'm just so glad to be here and have this dialogue. Thanks for the opportunity.
Hello ladies, my name is Tara Blu The Poet James. I am a local poet here from Baltimore, Maryland. I'm also an author of a book called journey of work. And I am also the founder of the Baltimore Renaissance, which is a creative movement where I've collaborated with dancers, artists, other poets, rappers, and singers to highlight the art community here in Baltimore and to bring awareness to different social issues. I am something of what you would call an artist, so I use my art to speak on different social issues as an activist. I definitely cannot wait to hear everybody's story. I think everybody has said we all battle with depression in some shape, form, or another, and I am here to give my insight as well as to take insight, you know, so this is going to be awesome.
And I just want to say, I actually saw Blu The Poet. I saw her perform at, I think it was the Wind Up Space one day. And I just like fell in love with her. I was like, oh my gosh, she is so amazing. I was like, I had to have her on my panel, so I'm so glad that you all can make it. You all are amazing. Thank you for being here. So this event is a safe space. I want everybody to be interactive. I want everybody to know that you can speak up because your voice is the most powerful thing that you have. And silence it can hurt you. You know, staying silent about something, keeping everything bottled up, keeping it to yourself, it can really hurt you. And just because you think you're alone and that nobody's gonna understand and that nobody can help you doesn't mean that you can't try, okay? So I just want you ladies, if you like, could give me some stories, you know, something where you can let people know that even though you went through something, you still came out on the other end okay. Because you will be okay, no matter what. And some people don't realize, like therapy, people think you have to be crazy to go to therapy. Oh no, I'm not going to therapy because only nuts go to therapy. That's not true. Therapy will help you. When I started going to therapy, now I think I tried to go to therapy when I was younger and it didn't work out. You know, probably because at that moment I still thought like, no, I'm not crazy. Why am I trying to go to therapy? Like, I'm not crazy. Why am I doing this? So I didn't go back. So as I, became an adult and I went to therapy, the more you go, the more it helps. It feels good to open up to somebody who's not going to judge you, who's not going to take sides, but they're just there to help. All right. Want to start?
I actually want to second that. So for me, therapy has been something that definitely helped me. For a long time, I didn't know exactly how to go about getting help. I didn't want to go to get help because there was a stigma that I had to go by as I'm a strong Black woman, and I have to be quiet about it, and everybody used to look at me and say, oh, you just have it together, Ariona, you're going to be fine. So I would go and keep it to myself, and I was breaking down mentally, spiritually, every way you possibly could, but it was like I wouldn't let anyone know about it until I hit my breaking point. And I'm sure for everybody that looks differently. But for me, I couldn't hide it at this point. It leaks everywhere, everywhere. And when it leaks, oh, I'm sorry, you can't hear me, I'm sorry, it leaks everywhere. And it started getting to the point where, I don't know if people like, you guys like talk about this, but it even starts, you start feeling it physically. Mm-hmm. I started feeling it physically where my jaws would hurt in the morning, my stomach, everything would hurt, and my memory was affected. I remember it got so bad one time that I couldn't remember my address to get home because I mentally tapped out. Mm-hmm. And I had to call my sister and I can't remember how to get home. Like, I just had a bad episode. It was really bad. And I remember sitting there and I was so unhappy. And I was so overwhelmed. And when you're a mom and you just have to keep, I just got to keep going. So I just couldn't. I packed my stuff up at work. I remember I was done. And I said, I quit. I quit. You can ask my sister, I quit. I got on the bus, I was like, I quit. They're like, are you serious? I said, I quit. I quit my job. It was the best decision I ever made, by the way. And I didn't look back, but I also went to therapy, and that was the best decision I ever made. And everybody had their different views on whether or not I should go to therapy, but you know what? It was the best decision for me. And my life completely did a 360 after I went to therapy. I watched myself become way more aware of who I was, my issues that I was having, and how to be able to cope more with the issues that I was having. So that's how I was able to be okay. Even be okay to be here with all of you today. Because me last year wouldn't have been able to be even talking to you guys right now. So right now, this is even a step, a huge step in the right direction for me.
For me, it started, my parents were, I was 6. My parents divorced. I grew up in Seattle, and I never knew really why my parents ever got a divorce until I was in 12th grade. My family, both sides, lied to me. My dad's side, my mom's side, and they tug-of-warred me being in the middle for years. And I didn't understand their personal gain, but it played a big impact on my life. Usually, of course, you know, when you're a teenager, you do teenage things. You try out for sports, you be in all these after-school activities. Not me. I had to grow up really fast. At 10, the age of 10, my brother was born. I had to raise him. I mean, when I say raise him, I knew how to do bottles. I knew it was warm enough. I knew how to change diapers. And then when he started going to daycare, I had to make sure I got home after school. And then when the van dropped him off, I had to be there. I had to cook for both of us. Homework, go over it with him, put him in the tub, lay his clothes out. I never saw my mom until Friday night because her shift was from 2:30 in the afternoon to like 11:30 at night. So we never passed each other during the day. It played a big toll on me, and so from me not being able to live as a teenager and have a teenage life, I got into a lot of drugs. And I got into a lot of drugs to cope with pain, to pretty much shadow over it. I know it's going to sound wild, the whole list, but I want to tell you what it was. It started with cigarettes at the age of 10, then it was weed, it was drinking, it was speed, it was volume, it was acid, it was shrooms, it was ecstasy, smoked opium. And that was just throughout the week of whatever I could afford. And that was from the age, again, from being a teenager up until I ran away and came here to change my life to live here for 12th grade. I had to change my environment of where I was because I saw what I was trying to do. I was trying to kill myself. And I felt like if I would have stayed where I was, I would have become that statistic in Seattle, and I wouldn't be here today. Thinking that I changed my life by moving here, not necessarily. That didn't happen. I still had problems, I still had issues, I still needed to know the truth. So it put me into a slumber, and it put me to a deep hole. And I didn't like that feeling. And like you said, it does start out physically. You can feel your pain in your back, your joints. You don't want to move. It hurts to move. Your breathing pattern, it changes, it fluctuates. And I didn't like that feeling. So I decided to go to therapy and kind of get an idea of what was wrong. I needed to tell somebody. My parents were ones that did not believe in keeping us in therapy long at all for us to get the help we needed. Found out I was actually diagnosed bipolar disorder, which is a typical manic 1 depressive. And I don't know, in a better way to explain it to you, it's like you're watching TV when somebody keeps changing the channel, and that's your brain. It keeps changing. You go from one extreme to another extreme. You talk really fast, you may talk really slow. You have all these goals and these ideas, and everything is rapid, but then it's like changing the channel again, and then you get depressed, and you're sad, then you don't enjoy things that you used to enjoy, and then you don't want to do that. And I needed to get the help so that I could regain my life and have actual hold over it. And in therapy, the one thing that she told me was, I want you to create a vision board. And when you start with a vision board, put on your vision board what your goals are, where you see that you want to be within like your next 2-year goal, your next 5-year goal. And when you start accomplishing those things on your vision board, then change it and then make another one. And it takes medication, and the good thing is I can tell you now I'm not so highly on my medication anymore. I found a lot of good things. I had to actually find a different group of friends because your friends are one of those groups of people that will throw this in your face. You just crazy. You're just having an episode. You always blamed on you being bipolar. And it's like, nah, it's not an excuse. It's an illness. And this is what you need to understand. So moving forward, I found the things that I like to do in life and hosting my own show, podcast show. Basically trying to take one day at a time, doing exercise throughout the week to keep my mind going, looking to my son, knowing that that's the one that needs me. I'm important to him, and I have to stay sane for me to be able to raise him. So yeah, I do have flickers at times, but I've now found ways to cope, have the proper help that I need, and I just want to let you know it's one of those things that you need to admit to yourself, and don't be scared to talk to anybody about it, because you're not alone. And that's the one mistake we make, is when we don't talk about it. So I just am glad to be here to tell you that today, that you can pull through, you can do it, recreate your circle, and keep positive more than anything as far as negative energy away from you.
My hands are getting clammy. With me, depression started very young. I kind of ran from it my whole entire, childhood. I grew up, like I said, in this neighborhood, right on Lambell Street in Cary. My mom was an addict, very, very heavy addict. I watched her go through, her stages and having multiple kids and us being dislocated from each other growing up. When I became an adult, I just wanted to be that strong black woman. I never talked about my past. I never shared it with anyone I was dating. I didn't want people to know that side because it was just a bad thing for me. I raising my kid, my brothers and sisters as my children. And I think becoming a parent made it worse. I just didn't want to show weakness, and that's one thing us as black women, we just don't want to be weak. We want to have everything in control. I've always had leadership roles, always been a boss, always had these great things going, but in the inside, I hated everything. I hated myself, I hated my situation, I hated my family, and then my brother died. Someone who was a light, to this world, got hooked up with the wrong female, and they found his body, and that broke me. From then I started having anxiety issues, and even to this day, it is still something I have to deal with, because he died too young, and that's when everything started for me, realizing that I suffer from depression. I wasn't happy-go-lucky, to the outside world anymore. I couldn't put that front on in front of my husband and my kids. I had to figure it out now. I had to be vulnerable. I had to, stop being the strong woman, the strong mother, and actually let him know how I felt in the inside. It was okay when he was going through things because I could be there, but I didn't know what to do at that point. Then I found out, sometimes being in your own thoughts can't be that bad. I started meditating, and that took me from being angry to being able to understand that you are not alone. There's other people out here that are going through exactly what you're going through. So it was time to fix some things. Try to fix it with my mom, and then it was too late. They found her in a coma. She had a heart attack. I did get a chance to get things off my chest during that process of me losing her, and I needed that. Sometimes there is passion in pain, and there's power in pain. And us as women, we are so afraid to show that pain. But pain is okay. It's okay to say, you hurt me. It's okay to let it out, And like I shared with Blue, I found out my dad, who something I was trying to fix 2 months ago, passed away. So now that's my real life. That's what I'm dealing with. Recreating and having my children understand that, you have other family, Mommy didn't, probably do this the right way, introduce into siblings that I have no relationship with. That's real life, and depression, you can't put a Band-Aid on. You can't say, okay, I did this and I'm talking about this and it's gone. It's never going to go away. How you cope with the things, makes it better, and me being a vessel in me having this meditation. And, you know, my daughter, she's 13, you know, she sits there with me with the candles, and, you know, we go through breathing sessions, you know. That's my healing. You know, everyone else has their healing. You know, mine is not therapy, mine is actually being vulnerable and understanding that these emotions are real. You know, so if you have real raw emotions, I've always been a raw person growing up. You know, my grandparents just say, you just say everything. You just don't think about what you're saying, you know. And now I understand that words are powerful, you know, and I have young women that work at my stores that go through so much, and within those 15 minutes that I'm with them, I share so much with them to the point that they're so happy to see me. That is that power, that is that purpose, you know. That is the reason why I am here, you know, and I felt that through all that pain I experienced. And if you're going through pain, you have a purpose. Understand it, embrace it, because it's there for you. You know, use it to help somebody else who may not understand that they are not alone, you know. And that's just my story.
I love it. There is so much power in this room, so much power. There's so much hurt, there's so much fear, there's so much anxiety, there's so much stress, there's so much success. We are power women sitting inside of this room. And sometimes we just happen to lose the thought of knowing it because we are so busy in our day-to-day. That is why it is imperative to make sure you start with the foundation of you. There is power in your voice. Your voice is power. And so the vulnerability that you spoke about is true. It is us sharing stories, and we don't know each other, but there's linkages, right? There's, dang, I felt like that. That's what that felt like. I can see the pain, and now I can see that you have 3 dominoes, so I can do that. The power inside of this room is using your voice to meet others, because these women here can become your network. I don't know any woman on this stage today, but they are now my network. But you have to leverage that, and that comes with using your voice and knowing deep inside that I'm going to start with the foundation of you. I love vision boards. I live by a vision board, and I teach women how to do vision boards, because when you have something in front of you that you don't have yet, but you know where you want to be, that clarity right there sets your mind free. That clarity right there gives you the focus you need. And that's why when you're walking in it, it's okay to leave those friends to the side, because you have a clear purpose. So I appreciate those words like clarity, like vision, like purpose, because you don't feel that all the time. That's why a lot of my programs are based on affirmations, because a lot of people did not get affirmed as a child. And to be honest, I did get affirmed as a child. And I had a mother and father in my home. I was raised very different than a lot of my friends. And I will be honest, it wasn't until I came to Morgan State University and I was graduated and I was meeting new people, and that I really jumped out of my shell and realized, like, I think I was living in a box. It was a good box, and let me not suggest, I was middle class, so I mean, I'm not all the way at the top. But what I will say is that I didn't recognize that there was so much struggle in people. There was so much struggle in me. So it's not where you come from that is the differentiator. It is inside of us, what we feel. We are humans, right? What you're feeling, I'm feeling. And just because somebody is polished does not always mean that they are not struggling inside. So I say all of this, and I started with your voice. Your voice is power, because it takes 2 seconds to tell somebody what they're good at. You know what? I love those shoes you're wearing today. You look great today. Thank you for saying that today. It really touched my spirit. Use your voice, because you don't know what's happening in somebody else's life. And you show up, and sometimes when you speak, your word, you don't even know what you're saying that's so impactful. But it's touching somebody so deeply inside. And that's why I love, love, love to work with women, because we are super women and we carry ourselves as such. We become the last thing that's important in our lives all the time. And it's okay to pause. It's okay to take a deep breath in, right? And exhale that energy, that extra negative energy that's around you. Self-help, self-love is not selfish. And you gotta start with the foundation of you. You gotta start with it because change comes in our lives all the time. You know what? You'd be like, oh yeah, my day's going great. And damn, how am I gonna walk in there? I done said my affirmation this morning. I got my affirmation calendar up there. What am I gonna do now? You gotta pause. Because that's not changing. It's happened already. So what we gotta do is figure out how we're gonna walk in that space. Is that easy? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But I encourage women to leverage their networks. You might feel as though there's nobody around you that can help because they're doing worse than you are. They got their own problems. That's not for you to solve. It's you that you gotta think about, especially in those moments. And so I just want to leave you guys with, use your voice. It's so much to say. So, you know, we all get into it. So I just want to pass the mic. But it's so passionate. And I just want everybody to leave out of here knowing that you are greatness. You are greatness. You are power. So live in it. Own it. Because there's something inside of you that has you here today. Right?
That's right.
All right.
So I was listening to every single person and I was able to connect with every single one of you on a different level. Myself, I came from Baltimore City. I grew up in Emerson Village with a single mother. I was practically raised by my grandparents because my mom was always working. I'll say where I first started knowing that I was battling with depression was age 21. I got locked up for a domestic violence charge. Luckily that did not stick, thank the Lord. But it was because I had befriended the wrong people. And I got put into a situation that honestly was completely out of my control. I had 10 people in my apartment trying to fight me. So it was more of a matter of self-defense, but I was the one charged. From there, it was just a roller coaster. I ended up losing my job. I ended up moving into another apartment because I couldn't stay in that one that I couldn't afford. So there were eviction notices on my door like every other day. I was working 3 jobs, still trying to go to school, and I had 2 parents, one person that I did speak with, the other person that literally lived up the street from me and I did not speak to, and no one was trying to help me. I was in an abusive relationship, and I was trying to find peace in all the wrong places. One thing that I would definitely say about myself that I learned was that with the absence of my father, I was looking for love in all the wrong places, which is why I ended up in the abusive relationship that I was in. And I was there for so long because I was trying to make somebody love me that didn't know how to love me. I didn't even know how to love myself. So from there, by the grace of God, and one of the things that I attest to is my faith all the time. I got on my knees one night because I was tired. I would literally wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, would not get back in the house till 1 o'clock in the morning because I was working at a nursing home, I was working at an elementary school, and I was working at TGI Fridays. I was at my wit's end. And I dropped on my knees, and I was living in a 1-bedroom apartment. My mattress was on the floor, and I just broke down crying because I had no idea how to get out of the situation. I was tired. I was mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually tired to the point where I didn't even have enough love to give to myself at the end of the day. And I just asked Jehovah God to show me whatever it was that he was trying to teach me, because I don't think that we go through things in life for no reason. Right. You're either supposed to be a blessing to somebody else, or there's a lesson that you need to learn. And I had to think, I was like, well, what lesson are you trying to teach me that I'm not learning? And my friends, people that were my friends for 10 years, 10, 15 years, wasn't calling me because I ain't had no money, I ain't had no car, I couldn't hang out. So what they needed me for, I was no longer of service or value to them. So now, nobody calls me. Nobody picks up the phone. Tara, are you okay? Are you fine? Do you need anything? It was none of that. My mom, who honestly at this point, we have built such a wonderful relationship, but back then, it was none of that. It was, you say you're gonna help me, but you don't help me. I was standing on the bus stop at 5 o'clock in the morning trying to get to work because the boyfriend that I supposedly loved and supposedly loved me said he was going to take me to work, but now all of a sudden he don't want to take me. So I'm outside in the cold. Ma, can you come take me to work? Why you didn't get him to take you? And I'm just like, are you serious, man? But that's just what it was, and whatever I gotta do to make sure I'm fine and that I'm okay. But I started to harden on the inside. I wasn't receptive to love. I wasn't receptive to help. I was one of those people, you know what, I don't need you, I can do it for myself. When in all actuality, we all need somebody. You cannot live life, you can't do anything in life on your own. So, by the grace of God, I ended up getting a job opportunity that I needed, that I was able to afford all of my bills. I was able to pay off the behind rent and get my car and everything. But it was only through the grace of God. I was getting money that I didn't even know where it was coming from. I'm telling you, I got a refund check from Morgan and everything. I think I wasn't even in school when this money come from. I was like, but you know what? I ain't gonna say nothing. But it was the grace of God, I'm telling you. I ended up going through a situation where I ended up having an abortion because the person that I thought loved me didn't love me and didn't want any kids. And this is the first time I ever shared that. And I dealt with it by myself in the midst of all of that. And I learned so much. I learned how to live in my truth in that moment. I learned how to accept who I was, where I was, and the fact that I did not have all of the answers. So I started working on myself spiritually. I started trying to cope with all of the issues that I had from a child that have now impacted my adulthood. This year, 28, I started to make so many decisions. I started to live selfishly and fearlessly at 28. I decided that I would not let others dictate how I decided to live my life. So this is where I honestly, I touched on everybody. You left your job this year. I literally quit my job 2 weeks ago. I had no plan. I said, you know what? I know my skill set. I know what I bring to the table. I know I will find me another job. It didn't even take a week. It didn't even take a week. I literally, my last day was Monday. Had a job on Tuesday. Nothing but God. Nothing but God. And I decided to forget the naysayers because I told my friends and my family members and they were like, oh, well, can you afford your bills? What you gonna do? And I said, honey, the Lord got me out the last situation. I'm pretty sure he ain't about to leave me now. And also I started creating other streams of income within the course of the year, so I'm fine, you know? And you started drugs and all that to cope with your depression. I was drinking heavily when I was 21, 22. I have this one piece where I say I was sexing the next man while lost in love with my ex-man. Sex and drinking, those were my coping mechanisms. My uncle, who was my father when my dad decided to leave, passed away in February, and I have been trying every day, just trying to figure out how do I go on from here, because there's things in life that I can't talk to with nobody else, and the person that I can talk to is no longer here. My grandfather, who helped raise me, we haven't been able to find him in 2 years. He's been battling with drugs. So at this point, we've just chucked it up to the fact that he may have passed away somewhere and we will never know. I use my poetry at this point to empower women, individuals, to tell my story. I wrote a book earlier this year and released it called A Journey of Words, because literally I've been on a spiritual journey for the past 3-4 years, and I just decided to be so transparent in this book. I decided to tell people my story and what it was that I was going through, what inspired these poems, because I knew that through my poetry, I could help somebody else heal. I don't know if you're going through exactly what I went through, but I know it's somewhere in those pages you may find just a piece of advice that will add a little bit of healing on your journey. And honestly, I can say at this point, I'm blessed and I'm highly favored. And I have been able to do so many things this year because I decided to take control of my life. I've traveled so many places this year. My dad, who through the death of my uncle, we have now started to rebuild our relationship. My dad mentioned, he's like, you just a traveling somebody? I said, yes, honey, it is by the grace of God. Because I'm telling you, half the time I'll be like, where does this money come from for me to do this? But it's God. Absolutely. To be able to go and take my poetry and go to so many different places all up and throughout the East Coast and to meet with so many people and connect with so many people and spread my message. It's just been a blessing. And I couldn't have asked for a better year. I struggled going to Morgan, and now I'm in my senior year, ready to graduate. Congratulations. Thank you. And I'm just, it's been a good year, but at the end of the storm, there is a rainbow, and you just gotta stay consistent. You gotta maintain your faith, and you gotta, and don't be afraid to be vulnerable, because I did my first therapy session last month. She told me how much it was for the hour. I said, well, I'm not about to sit up here and egg shot in this session. I told her girl everything. You thought she know me all my life. I told her everything in that hour. It was so therapeutic because I was able to finally be vulnerable. Like, you know, you got some people that you tell certain things to because you know how they're going to judge you, how they're going to look at you. I told her everything. I said, honey, is this a judge-free zone? She said, yes. I said, well, look, let me tell you. And it was honestly the best feeling that I ever had, because I started thinking that I was just making irrational decisions in life. And she said, no, honey, you just making decisions before your time. That's all it is. So I am honored to be on this panel with all of these beautiful women and their stories, because each of us are connected. And I'm pretty sure just by looking at all of y'all faces out here, you're connecting with us as well. And this is just beautiful, Brianna. This is awesome.
I'm sorry, get one more round of applause. Thank you ladies so much. Does anybody have any questions for anyone up here? Any questions? No, you don't want to. You have a question? No? Okay. All right. So I'm going to have one of the reps from Star Trek come on up and just explain what they are doing here. Hi. She doesn't
Big mouth. Good afternoon, ladies. How are you? I'm Alexia. I work for Star Trek. We are an adolescent and young adult health program. We predominantly appeal to the LGBTQI community, but we offer free HIV and STI services to youth ages 12 to 26. We do operate outside of a full-service clinic, so we have a nurse practitioner, we have therapists, we have social workers, we work with medical assistants, and we are located at 120 Penn Street, which is right across the street from the Shock Trauma and the University of Maryland Hospital. It's like right on the corner of Penn and Pratt. A lot of people get really confused because it says the Women's Center. But we are located right inside of there on your right-hand side. We are offering free HIV testing today. We're trying to figure out like the space, make sure we have enough space. But you guys are all welcome to do that. If you have any questions or concerns, we are in the back. We have a lot of stuff. We have some giveaways, some hot sex kits, some stuff to make for everybody. Some safe sex, because we are a sex positive organization, so we don't tell people not to have sex, we just tell people to do it the right way. So if you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to see myself or Francesca. She is my co-worker, and we will be in the back. Thank you so much.
Alright guys, and everybody make sure you take as many pictures and videos as you can and tag the YANA project. Yes, take the, oh, yeah, look. She's like, oh, I wish I would have known to take pictures. Okay. I'm going to have Shaniqua come up. Ladies, if you guys want to, you guys can stay there, or you can, you guys are done, you can walk around, eat. The food is here. If anybody wants to go ahead and start grabbing plates. But I'm going to have Shaniqua come up. This is our yoga instructor. She's just going to give us a few pointers today because yoga, I actually actually did yoga with her. One day we went to, if anybody's familiar with Montebello Lake, we were at Montebello Lake, and it was actually just us two. And we were out there, we were listening to music and doing yoga, and it helps. With depression, yoga helps like more than you know. So this is my yoga guru.
Hey y'all. I think I'm loud. I'm loud, right? I'm loud a little bit. So hi y'all. I'm so excited to be here. I'm from Richmond, Virginia. So yeah, I drove like 3 hours to get here this morning, but it was important for me to be here. Spaces like this are so necessary, and it feels good to look around and to see so many women that look like me, right? And just a little bit about like me and my wellness journey. My Capricorn sister, girl. I was like, why is she me right there? Like, what is happening? But seriously, quitting a job. I mean, just all kinds of things. Like, I can relate so much. And I will say that when I found yoga, I found healing, like real healing. I've suffered from a lot. I lost my mother at a very young age. My father has been in prison the majority of my life. I went through an abusive relationship at a very young age, searching for love outside of myself, looking for that love that I didn't receive from my family, from my father. And y'all know that, right? That the daddy issues, Lord, the daddy issues. So just looking to everybody for love. And my boyfriend now, but when we were dating, he introduced me to yoga, and he was like, yeah, I'm doing yoga, and I'm like, what? Like, black people don't do that shit? And he's like, no. So, he was into all of these different wellness things, and I'm like, boy, okay. So my sister, actually, I drag my sister here, I drag her everywhere, my little big sister. But I was like, oh, we gotta go to yoga, because like he said it's like something, so we gonna go. And we went, y'all, and it was like a room full of white women. And I'm like, what the fuck? And they're like, stay still, breathe, find your center. I'm like, oh my God, like this is crazy. And I'm like a person that's like, go, go, go. So to like be put into a position when I needed to be still, it was uncomfortable. And I'm like, you want me to do what? You want me to breathe? Like, okay. So I was not into it at first. Like, my first yoga class, I'm like, hell no, I'm never going back. But I'm like, all right, let me give it a try. And I was at a point where I wanted to challenge my body physically. So for me, when I got into it, it was strictly about like what it could do for my body. Like, I just wanted to be able to put my leg over my head and, I'm saying? A few things, right? That was the goal at first. That was the goal. I was just like, I'm just gonna be flexible. I had a child too. And so you guys know, like when you have a kid, like as a woman, it changes you, And I just wanted to feel like I still had it, y'all. Like I needed to know that like mama still gotta have a life too, right? And so I dug into yoga. I dug into it, and I progressed from like what I wanted from it physically, and it became like a spiritual awakening. Like it really became a spiritual awakening, and it's still that. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get it twisted. Like, yeah, I do yoga, I meditate, and all of that, but continuously, I have to go back to my practice. And as I got into it, I realized that there were too many faces that looked like me. And I would be in yoga class with all of these white women, and I'm like, no, where's my people? Like, if anybody needs healing, y'all already know. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need it the most. And so I was like, oh shit, I have to teach this. Like, I have to teach this, and I have to teach young boys and girls, because I suffered from depression at a very young age. 12, like I said, my mother and my father, and as a young woman, like that's it. So I didn't have anybody to go to. I didn't have anybody to get advice from. So I learned everything the hard way. You know what I'm saying? I looked to so many people to give to me, but ultimately I found that only I can give to me in the good Lord. Hallelujah. So yeah, and so I'm an advocate for creating safe spaces for brown faces. That's like what I go by. I teach children yoga, so I teach youth yoga in like the hood. So yeah, they challenge me, y'all. I'm in there, I'm like, boy, we are not listening to NBA Youngboy, but I do it. I do the work. It's tough work, but I do it because I know that it's needed. You know, it's needed, and that exposure is needed. And if I can just give this practice and share this practice with one little boy, one little girl, and it does something for them, it allows them a way to heal, then I've done my job. And so I really feel like God put me here to help people to heal, but it was through my own journey that I had to learn how to get there. And I'm still learning. You know, I don't even like my students to call me like an instructor. Like, no, I'm just a teacher. I mean, I'm just a student. I just happen to be in the front of the class, you know, but I'm a student like everybody else. And yeah, so I would say, has anybody ever tried yoga? Yeah. Like, have you guys tried it? What do you guys think? I want to know.
I love it.
Do you like it? You like it?
I gotta go back.
You gotta go back?
Yeah.
Wait, I saw it. What do you think? Yes. It's excellent? So does anybody have like a consistent practice? Like, are you in there like twice? Yeah, but are you in there like twice a week? Like, are you committed to it, or is it just like every now and then?
I go to my class every week.
Okay. Okay. Yes. 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 So I do this, let me walk around, but I do like this self-care Sunday class, and it's geared to like women, to entrepreneurs, to mothers, right? And it's all about taking that time for ourselves. And so I would just say, what I have found in yoga is that you do have to have a teacher that connects to you. Because a lot of them they don't know y'all. So you gotta have a teacher that connects to you, but when you find a teacher that connects to you, like I encourage everybody to like get into the practice, give it a try, even if you just do the meditation part. Because you have yoga, which is like the asanas, the physical part, but then at the end, most classes end with the meditation. And meditation is like huge for depression. And so I would just recommend it. I recommend you guys try it. Take your sisters, your friends, your boyfriend, like whomever, but definitely try it. So we're gonna do a breathing technique, a breathing little exercise. Y'all ready? We can't do yoga. I was prepared to like actually have y'all in here like in downward dog. But not today. So if everybody, I'm gonna invite you.
Tell y'all, like, they gonna be eating and stuff and all trying to be cute with the heels on and stuff. You can't have that putting their leg over their head.
But I'm gonna invite you guys. So we'll go through Ujjayi breath, which is known as yoga as also victorious breath. And so I'll invite you all to just close your eyes and just start to come into this space. Start to connect with the beautiful energy that surrounds us. And so with Ujjayi breath or victorious breath, the sound that happens on the back of your throat is almost like the sound of an ocean. So if you could imagine taking your hand in front of your mouth and pretending that your hand is a mirror, right? And so when you inhale, the exhale, you breathe into your hand as if you were fogging up that mirror. Right? Does that make sense? Yeah. So inhale and then allow the breath to constrict from the back of the muscles on your throat. And you breathe into your hand. So a few more times, inhale, deep inhale. Right? So knowing that you can connect to your breath, I think sometimes we take it for granted, right? Knowing that breath is our life force. And so I encourage you guys that in times of anxiety, worry, stress, to just breathe. Breathing is such a simple thing, but it's so detrimental to just being able to move through uncomfortable spaces. Thank you guys.